Okay, what's going on YouTube? Today we are finally going to do the Miyoo Mini review. I know it's been long overdue. I've literally had this device for about a year now. And I'm not gonna lie to you, I don't really play it that much. I mainly got into it was when my Retro Pocket 3 Plus got stolen and I was kind of without a handheld for a while and I was kind of stuck playing this before getting my Steam Deck. And I'm not gonna lie to you, it was a pretty nice experience, man, to be honest with you. Like it forced me to have to really sit down and learn the operating system and learn the handheld. But anyway, let's just go ahead and get straight into it. First off, a vertical handheld, another vertical handheld. So for me personally, I like handhelds. I mean, I do like vertical handhelds, but I prefer some a little bit larger, and I definitely prefer a handheld with the joysticks at the bottom, as you guys can see down there with the 353 VS. But for what it's worth in its actual size, it's actually pretty comfortable. It is a little small for my hands. I'm not gonna lie to you. I did get a little uncomfortable. I did get a little cramped playing some games, but for the most part, like if I was literally only stuck with this device, or if I didn't know about any of the other devices, this would 1000% work for me, 100%. As far as the buttons go, on the back, you do have 4 triggers, and they are you know, they're stacked, so you can definitely tell the difference between L1, L2, R1, R2. You have your battery pack back here, which is great. Like, you don't need any screwdriver or anything to remove it, so if anything does explode or if the battery starts to expand like on my 353 VS, it's an easy switch out rather than having to get a special screwdriver. On the top, you have the power button. On the right side, there's nothing. On the left side, you have your volume up down keys. On the bottom, you have your headphone jack, SD card slot, and then your USB-C charging port. And that's pretty much it as far as buttons go on the actual unit on the outside. But like on the front, you have, of course, your D-pad, start, select, have your ABXY buttons, and then your menu button in the middle. So let's go ahead and get this guy turned on. Gotta hold it for a couple of seconds. You do get that green light up top. When it is starting to die, it will turn red, so at least you get some kind of indicator of that. It does take a second to load up. I'm just really noticing like how long it does take, but boom, we are now powered up. Now, when you get your Miyoo Mini, I'm pretty sure yours will not look like this. I do have the Onion OS theme on here. Mine did come with Onion OS, but I did have to install my own, you know, themes or whatever. So this is the Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2 theme, and I think it's pretty dope. But let's get into it. So when you turn it on, you're gonna have your recent, you're gonna have favorites, you're gonna have game, you're gonna have retro art, you're gonna have app, and then you're gonna have settings. It's pretty much self-explanatory. Like your recents is everything that you just recently played, your favorites, everything that you mainly put in there and say, oh, this is my favorite game. And then you have the actual game list. So this system is capable of playing a lot, pretty much everything up to PS1. So you have arcade, Famicom, that's your media player right here. You have Game Boy, Neo Geo, Mega Drive, MAME, Game Boy Advance, Neo Geo Pocket, PC Engine, PS1, WonderSwan Color, Shoot 'em Ups, Sega Master System, and Super Famicom, also known as the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. Retro Arts, that's pretty much is all the individual emulators. That's just if you want to go in there and pull it up individually, or if you just want to go in there and tweak a few little settings or whatever. It's 3 pages of that. And then you have app. App is pretty much the built-in whatever that they, you know, just pretty much everything that they have built in on this unit. Now mine is in a different language because of the previous version of Onion that I am using, but you know, you can go ahead and update it if you would like. I haven't, mainly because it's pretty much doing everything that I needed to, and I'm a little nervous about updating my systems after I start playing them because I don't want to lose save states. And then lastly, you have your settings, and this pretty much is where you're gonna have the most fun at, mainly because you know, of course you have power off, brightness, blah, 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 Wi-Fi, color. You know, you have your basic settings, but in here is where you really get to kind of tweak your overall theme or your overall look and feel of your Miyoo Mini. One second, let me wipe the screen off, a little dirty. There we go. All right, so for me personally, I did go to, the GitHub page, and I downloaded a lot of different things. I'll go ahead and show you a few. So right now we do have the one that's Tony Hawk set. Another favorite one that I like was the Simpsons one. To change it out, all you gotta do is hit A, and you see how quick it is. And it's the same menu, it's just, you just have different layouts and characters of everything. So this is the Simpsons one. We'll go back in there, pick another one. What was another good one? I try to do this kind of fast because there's a lot of them. So this one kind of gives it like that old school Game Boys look. Let's see, another theme in here. Cyber onion. So this gives it like that cool cyberpunk purple theme looking. That's also pretty awesome. And then I'll show you guys one more. I'll show you the Sonic one. I thought this one was pretty dope too, mainly because I just like the screen. But yeah, man, like Onion is just, it's a pretty good overall operating system, and that's really what makes this, it's really what separates this unit from just the other 50,000 million other handhelds right now, mainly because just the operating system, right? Like just be able to really customize it and, you know, turn it into like the perfect handheld. But you can pretty much turn it into the handheld that you like, right? And it's also, it's pretty easy to get into because it's just regular screwdriver. You just use a regular Phillips head screwdriver to get in there. And I say regular because if you, on my previous unit, which is a 353 VS, as you can see, you need a special one to get that open. And ironically, because my battery bust on it, it just so happened to open on its own. So boom, there's that. But anyway, just getting into this overall experience, man, like it's a pretty good, so just getting into the overall experience with it is definitely easy to use. Like if this was your first time picking up a handheld, or this was your first gaming handheld, if you were to gift this to somebody, it's pretty much pick up and play, right? It's obvious, they don't really have to tweak anything. It did come with a 64 gig memory card. Let me turn this off really quick. It came with a 64 gig memory card, and it was already loaded just pretty much with all the games that they would probably need. With the exception of Mario, they did not include any major games like Mario or any of the Nintendo type things. I mean, let me take that back. They included Nintendo games, but there are no Mario games on this unit when you first get it, so you will have to manually put it in there, and that goes for just about every what was it, Game Boy Advance, Super Nintendo, all that good stuff. There is no Mario fresh out of the box. You're gonna have to add that yourself. But every other system, you know, Sega, they do include like every other Sonic. Pretty much everything you played growing up is gonna be on here. With the exception of Super Mario. But if you was really like a Mario fan and you really want to have that game, you can put it on there yourself. And yeah. Okay, so I did want to do a quick comparison with the RG353 VS, right? So if you guys look at this, I know they do advertise saying it was like the same screen. I remember telling people on Reddit when I had all of them at the same time, I was trying to tell people like, hey, the Miyoo Mini Plus, the screen is a little bit smaller than the 353 VS and the RG35XX. And you know, they didn't want to believe me, but I should have just took a picture to start with. But you know, this is pretty much it lined up. It is a little bit smaller. I try to line this up side by side so you guys can see like the Miyoo Mini Plus is just a tad bit smaller. A tad bit smaller, but you know, overall, here's the side by side comparison. Okay, close that up. So it is a little thicker on the back, bottom, the triggers, the top. You know, just side by side comparisons. Like it's really small. So for me, this would be like my default unit, right? Like this is good average size for me because of my hand, right? And plus, I love to play with. I love using joysticks when I'm playing. This did take a second, like it's a new hand position, right? Like so my fingers had to rest kind of up under here, just kind of support it. That way I can hit the triggers in the back, but it's a quick adjustment, man. And then just comparing it to an iPhone, again, like it's small, man. It's small. So it's definitely something that you can use. It's definitely pocketable. It's definitely something that you can just throw in your pocket. It's definitely something that you can play one-handed. It's definitely something that, you know, if it were to break or if you were to lose it, like it's okay, because it's like, you know what I'm saying, you didn't pay too much for it, so I'd be okay with that. Unlike, you know, my Retro Pocket, which I did end up breaking. Well, actually, I'll take it back. My Retro Pocket actually got stolen, but it did kind of break a little bit, but it's all good. But anyway, overall, man, this is a pretty cool unit. Again, it does play everything up to PS1. We'll go ahead and run some gameplay, and we'll come back with, you know, my final thoughts on it. Okay, so some of my favorite games to play on the Miyoo Mini Plus with easily Monopoly because it's just easy to play with one hand. Then we have Sonic 2, Donkey Kong 1, Donkey Kong Country 2, Donkey Kong Country 3. You know, I just want the whole collection. Kirby Superstar, Legend of Zelda, NBA Hang Time. That's gotta be like my #1 favorite game right now. NBA Jam Tournament Edition, Sonic & Knuckles 1, Mortal Kombat 3, another version of NBA Hang Time, Outrun 2019, Sonic Advance 3, Mario Kart Super Circuit, Super Mario Advance 4, NFL Blitz, Rayman 2, Tony Hawk Pro Skater, Marvel Superheroes vs. Street Fighter, another Marvel, some more of the Marvel, and the X-Men. Then you have Mega Man X, Crash Bandicoot, and that is pretty much it. So these are my top favorite games to play on here, mainly because these are all the games that I grew up with. So it's really cool to literally have my favorite 25 games in like in a pocket-sized form that I can just whip out and play at any point. So those are my top favorites on there. I'm just not noticing it's really majority Super Nintendo. Okay, my favorite feature about the Miyoo Mini is when you start a game, it automatically saves everything. So I've been playing a lot of I've been playing Donkey Kong Country. So like when you get the game started, it automatically goes back to your recent save point. So I don't have to wait for any load times or anything. I'm automatically in there ready to go. Boom. And then when I'm done playing, you just hit that little middle button right there, and then I can just hit save. It'll save directly to that point, or I can load up a previous state, or I can just go ahead and hit exit altogether. And then I'm right back to the main menu. Super fast, super easy. All right, so overall, if I had to rate it, 1 through 10, 10 being like the absolute best, like highly rated, as in I would recommend it as far as price. I would recommend it as far as, form factor. I would recommend it as far as games. I would recommend it, that's like top and the top end. So for this, I would probably have to give it, I'm gonna give it like maybe like a 7.5 out of 10. That ain't bad. Especially if this is like your first handheld. 7.5, 7.5.